Hi everyone. Thanks for attending our How to Teach with Ozobot Bit webinar today. Just really quickly, want to make sure that everyone can see and hear us okay. If you can go ahead and look at your little sidebar, there should be a question section. And then go ahead and type in there just yes to let me know that you can see and hear us. Perfect. All right. And then, so you guys are familiar with this question section now. I just want to point out that during the webinar, it's going to be really hard for us to be able to read all the questions. So go ahead and save any questions that you have to the very end, and then we'll let you know when to go ahead and start typing them in that section. We'll read them out loud, and then we'll answer all your questions so that everyone can hear it. Some teachers might have the same question as you, so we'll answer it all at once. So yeah, just hold on to everything until the very, very end. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and introduce ourselves first. My name is Tara, and I'm the Education Coordinator here at Ozobot.
And I'm Cassandra. I'm an Education Curriculum Specialist here.
This is Cassandra's first webinar, so we're really excited to have her on here, and she's going to go over the lesson library a little bit in depth later. So yeah, we're excited to have you on. Thanks for joining us, Cassandra.
Excited to be here.
So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of give you a brief intro to BIT. Hopefully everyone has gotten their bits by now. You guys have had a little bit of time to explore since school has started. But if you've received your bits, they either look like this, they could be black, white, or they could be blue. I don't have the blue one with me right now. But this is what the black and the white bits look like. These have skins on top of them. So in the classroom kits, you'll have received them with the skins on. To take them off, all you have to do is just kind of slip off the top right there. I'll go ahead and do it with the white one too so you can see. Now I'm telling you guys this because some educators don't realize that this is a skin on it, and they'll try to put the blank DIY skins that come in the classroom kit over this skin, and then they won't be able to charge because the little charging mount won't be lined up. So just keep in mind that your bits in the classroom kits do come with the skin already on them. And it's just really easy to pop back on and pop them off. The skins are good. They're not really for protection. I get a couple of those questions. They're more for DIY or personalization. So you can actually number them with a marker, so then you'll know that this bot's number 1 and group A is working with bot 1. You can keep track of all the bots that way. Or you can also use the DIY skins to help enhance your lessons. And I can go over that a little bit more later too. So that's just what our little bits look like. I'll go ahead and use my white one here. To turn it on, there's a button on the left side of the Ozobot, and you'll just press it on. You'll see its light come on. You'll know it's running. If it doesn't come on, then you just need to charge it. It takes about, I would say, 45 minutes 20 to 25 minutes to recharge, and then it lasts about 90 minutes on a full charge. So with our little bits, there are 2 different ways that you can program them. The first is with markers and paper, and the second is with OzoBlockly. I'm going to show you the markers and paper portion first. I'm going to just move my camera down a little bit so you can see this track that I've created. The first thing that you want to do when using your Ozobot in the classroom is to calibrate your Ozobot to the specific paper that you are going to be using. So I'm just going to take my black marker, and I am going to draw a circle that is just a little bit bigger than my bit. Now, to calibrate my bit, that little on button that I was showing you earlier, you just want to hold down on that power button until you see a white flicker. So you see that little white flash. Now I'm going to let go of the power button, set it down on the middle of that circle. It is going to blink and then move forward. If it blinks a green light, which it just did, that means it's been properly calibrated. If it blinks a red light, it just means to try again. So you'll just go ahead and do that process again. If you keep getting red, you might want to just try making another circle. It might not be, you might be setting it out on the white section too early. It needs to be within the black section first. So just little things like that to keep in mind. So once I've calibrated my bot, it's good to go. Just turn it on, and you can start creating mazes with just markers and paper. As you can see, I have little color codes here, and each one of these color codes is telling the Ozobot to do different commands. In your classroom kits, you'll have a set of 18 of these color sheets. These go over all the different color commands that Ozobot recognizes. You can also get this sheet on our website if you don't have the classroom kits and you've just purchased them as singles, and I'll show you where to go and get this a little bit later. But you can just go ahead and I turn on my Ozobot. I'm letting it kind of wander around. At intersections, it makes its own decision. So if you need it to go in a specific direction, you'll want to place a code there that says go straight, go right, go left. And you'll see that Ozobot also recognizes just the different colored lines. So on a long blue line, it's going to turn blue. On a green line, it's going to turn green. And same with the red line. So it's really simple to start using the markers and paper. I get a lot of questions about different markers to use too. You don't have to use our Ozobot markers. I use Sharpies, I use Crayola markers. It's just the combination of the red, the blue, and the green that create the color codes. It's also a good idea if you're using other markers, especially with the Sharpies and Crayolas, to try to get more of the pastel colors, because the normal green and blue might be a little too dark, and the kids, as we know, like to sit there and just kind of color in really darkly. So they might, the blue might be so dark that Ozobot reads it as black. So that's why we like to do the pastel, because it's a little harder for the kids to color it in and make it too dark. So that's the markers and paper portion. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera up a little bit. Again, if you have any questions about this, just hold on to that until the very end, and then you can submit it into the questions box. I'm going to show you where to go online to find these resources, such as the code sheets. So I'm going to show my screen, and I'm going to take off my camera, and hopefully everyone can see it. So I'm on the ozobot.com homepage right now. I'm going to come over here to the top, and you'll see we have this educators section. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to just scroll down a little bit here, and you'll see where we have this quick start section. I'm going to go ahead and click on that right now. This will give you all of the different materials and resources to help you get started. We have the educator's guide. It's basically just a quick teacher guide for you guys to read over and learn a little bit more about Ozobot and how to introduce it to your class. We have the Ozobot tips. If I just click on that right now, it'll show you the same calibration tips that I just showed you, as well as tips on how to draw. So you'll recognize here that drawing the lines too thin, Ozobot won't be able to move forward at all. If you draw the lines too thick, Ozobot will start wandering within the line. It won't just go straight. So you want to try to keep the line this perfect size right here. And our markers are chisel tip, so as long as you're just using that chisel tip marker, then it's fine. If you want to get the chisel tip Sharpies, those work a lot better than just the regular Sharpies too. There's some other tips, such as make sure there's enough space between the lines. If it's too close, Ozobot might just jump over to the other line because it'll recognize that black color. And you don't want to make the kind of turns too sharp. You want to make sure you have a nice angle right there for the Ozobot to be able to move around on. And then here we have some more drawing tips, how to place the codes, how to draw the codes, where to put them at intersections. So this is a really good reference sheet. And then this is a new section in our tip sheet. It's for the calibration dot. And this will, you can just print this out, give it to the kids. They can fill it in with a black marker, and then that helps them remember to calibrate before they start using the Ozobot with the markers and the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our quick start guide. Here's where our Ozocode reference sheet right here. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see. You can just print this really easily. And then the second page actually tells you what each of the codes means. This is especially helpful for the counters. I know a lot of people have questions about what the counters do. So all the explanations right here. I'm going to go ahead and go back. We have our OzoBlockly Getting Started section. If you click on that, we'll give you tips on using OzoBlockly. And here's just another calibration tips section, and then a log sheet, which is kind of helpful. It lets you keep track of what students are using which bots, when they've been checked out, if they've been returned. They are tiny, so they are easy to pocket. This will help you keep track of them a little better. So this is our Getting Started section. I would just go here and print all these materials. If you don't have the classroom kit, if you just need extras, this is a great place to go. Another great section to check out is our webinars and PD. Of course, you're on the webinar right now, but we do record the webinars and post them for later viewing as well. So if you ever want to go back and revisit this, you can just scroll down to past webinars and watch the webinars. There's different subjects too, so there's ones that just focus on OzoBlockly, there's ones that just focus on lesson creation, so it's a really good place to go if you're just starting out with Ozobot. And then another section I want to point out is our Certified Educator section. This is also new. It's a great way if you have been using Ozobot in the classroom and you're really knowledgeable on Ozobot and you love sharing the news about Ozobot, you can become a certified educator, and that allows you to go out. We'll give you resources and materials that you can use when you're talking to other educators, or if you're going out on conferences, and so that you'll be able to show it properly. So this is another good section to check out. Let's see, we're going to go over the lessons a little bit later. Cassandra will be doing that. Here's our classroom kit section. If you ever need any of the items that are included in the classroom kit, then you can just come down here and find the digital resources. So you'll just click download, it will send you all the files, and then you have access to them right away. So that is where you can find everything on our website. Now I'm going to show you the second way to program your bits, which is through OzoBlockly. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, I already have it up on the main page. It was just OzoBlockly.com. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, if the students haven't used any form of block programming editors, Scratch, Tinker, Blockly, this is completely new to them, then I would suggest scrolling down to the bottom of this page and clicking on Games. And we have two really fun intro games for the students called Shape Tracer. I'm going to click on this button right here. Shape Tracer allows the students to get more familiar with OzoBlockly by giving them a little goal. So you'll see right here I have a simulator, and we want the Ozobot to move forward while also turning a green light a certain amount of steps. So all I have to do is come over here, and I have just two categories to choose from, movement and light effects. And I'm going to click on movement. I'm going to drag and drop this block over. I want it to move forward, let's say 5 steps. I'm going to put it at a medium pace. And I do want to set the light color to green. So I'm going to drag and drop this little block over here and connect it to that first one and set the color to green. Now what I can do is I go over to the simulator and I press run, and it's going to show me whether my program was correct or not. It looks like it was incorrect, so all I have to do is go back. I'm going to try 10 steps this time, and then come back over to the simulator, press reset, and run. And it looks like I was successful. So this is just a great place to start off with the kids, to kind of just show them how to use Blockly in general. And they can move throughout these 10 different levels. Once they unlock level 10, there's more games at the very end. And then for those students who might be a little more advanced or want to continue on going, they can do the Shape Tracer too. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll all the way. Oh, I'm going to X out of the game section and go back to OzoBlockly.com. And I'm going to click on Get Started, and this is going to bring me into my actual editor. There will always be pop-ups to help remind you which model you're using, how to navigate through OzoBlockly. You can always turn this off by clicking this button down here at the bottom that says Show at Startup. If you just unclick that, then this will stop popping up. But it's good to keep this on for just the first couple of times as a little refresher. I'm going to exit out of that. It looks like I've already created a code here, so this was my previous code. In order to get rid of this entire code, I'm just going to come down to the little trash can icon right down here at the bottom and click on it. It will ask me if it wants to delete all my blocks. Yes, I want them gone, so now I'm going to start with a blank slate. So since you guys have bit, you want to make sure that you're always on bit and not evo, which is our other model. Right over here at the top, you have the option to switch between bit and evo. Just always make sure that that bit section is on because the flash, the way that you load the program through the flash codes is going to be a little different for bit than it is with evo. You'll also see right here we have different levels. With bit, you can work from level 1 to level 4. Level 4 being our advanced mode, level 1 being novice. We like to have kindergarten, first graders work with 1 because they are pictures instead of words. So if the students can't read yet, then they can still program with OzoBlockly, which is great. And you'll notice in level 1 we only have 3 categories, so it's really simple, just movement, light effects, and weight. Usually you'll start off with the beginner section, which also has timing and loops included, and then you can work all the way up to level 4, which is advanced. You'll see there are a lot more categories, including math, variables, functions, logic. Now we are recommending bit for the younger grades, but as you can tell right here in level 4, you can even use this bit with high school grade levels because there are really advanced lessons that we have on our website that work with these different categories. We even have some like physics and chemistry lessons up there too. So definitely can use this with older grades as well, which is really awesome. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see some more icons that you can choose between. Let's see, this is a user profile. You really won't need this ever. You don't ever need to create an account for your bits. I just have that for my Evo. This is a reference sheet. So if I come over here and I add a block, so I just drag and drop these blocks down here. I'm going to put a couple of them in. You'll see that when I move that block down, this reference sheet automatically will find that block and give you an explanation of what it does. You can also click on a block and then it will automatically pop up there in the reference mode as well. So this is really helpful if you're not sure like what one of these categories mean. Then you can definitely just drag and drop it in and look it up. This is our example mode. There are just a couple examples of programs. You'll just press load example. It will automatically load up on your screen, and then there are little challenges that you can work through as well. This is our, another challenge section. So this is similar to the examples, just little games that you can play with your students. Here's our JavaScript preview tab. This will take the program that you have in your editor currently and show you what it looks like in JavaScript, which is great for those students that are starting to make that transition to script language. And then right here is our settings. You can see how much space you've used with your program. You can even kind of change the background of your editor, which is kind of fun for the students sometimes. And then language, we are expanding the different languages that OzoBlockly uses. So right now we have English, Japanese, Korean, and Polish, and we should be adding some more in the future. And right down here, you'll see these icons. This is our save button, this little floppy disk right here. So you can actually save your programs if you're working in a desktop or laptop. If you're on your tablets or your phones, unfortunately, they don't have enough space for you to save, so that option won't be there. But if you are working on the computers, you can just save it to a certain file. You can name the file Katie's Ozobot programs, and then Katie can always save it to her file and then come back and the next day or next week and keep working on that program. Again, this was our little trash can button, so that will delete all the blocks in your editor, and this is the file button where you can pull up the different files that you saved previously. I think I just went over everything in the OzoBlockly editor. Right here. So right down here at the bottom, let me actually get out of this tab. All right, so this is how you're going to actually load the program to your Ozobots. It's really important that you calibrate your Ozobot to the screen. So like I showed you earlier on the paper, how you calibrated the Ozobot to that black dot, you're going to want to calibrate this to this white activation space right here. And you can click on as many as you want depending on your tablet size, your computer size. So on my computer, I can load up to 5 bits at one time. Now I can't, it's going to be a little hard for me to show you how to load the bit, but if you go back to the main page and you click on watch tutorial, this video will do a quick, I think 30-second intro to how to calibrate your Ozobot to the actual screen. Now this is really important because if you've calibrated it to paper, you want it to be able to see the flash on the screen, so you need to calibrate to the digital surface now. And then whenever you switch between paper and digital, you want to make sure that you're calibrating. I'm going to go back into the editor and I'll just kind of show you. When I come down to flashing after I've calibrated my Ozobot, you'll hold it up to that little white space here and then you'll click load bit. Just make sure your Ozobot's turned on, and then this flash sequence is actually sending this entire program over to your Ozobot. The kids love doing the flash loading. It's really fun to see your Ozobot being loaded this way. It's completely unique to Ozobot. And then once it's been loaded, all you have to do is double click on the power button and then it will execute the program that you've just created for it. Again, this will all be shown in that video. It's a little hard for me to show it right now, so just go back and kind of check that out. It's maybe a minute and it will go over everything you need to know about loading. So that is the overview on OzoBlockly. Now I'm going to pass it over to Cassandra and she is going to show you the lesson library that we have.
Hi everyone. So both of the ways that you just saw Tara use Ozobot, with both the drawing and with OzoBlockly, we do have lesson plans. I'm sure that many lessons were going through your minds about possibilities, but if you ever need inspiration or even just a full or even something not what I just said. Something popped up on my screen. But
that was my fault. Sorry, guys.
No, so let me switch over to my screen so that I can guide you through the lesson library. Some of you might be familiar, but we actually have some new features that you're going to want to see. So you saw from Tara how to go to our educators part of the page. Let me go back again and show you where the lessons are. So you go to educators, you go to lessons, and then you can see our entire lesson library here. The ones on the top, those are your basic training courses for both the drawing and for the OzoBlockly. If you click on it, it shows 5 lessons for the basic training for the drawing, and then if you go back, there are 5 as well for OzoBlockly, which are also, in addition to teaching just our Blockly program, they're just a really good introduction to computer science in general. So let's see. Sorry for putting it up and down there for you. So if you go back to the lesson library, you will see our brand new feature, which is right here, a search bar.
Which we're so excited about.
I think it'll be really helpful because not only does it help you sort by your robot, so you'll be able to click on bit and see lessons that are only 4-bit. Some are for bit and Evo, but to be honest, most of them right now are for bit, so you guys are in luck. You can also go here to find lessons that were made by us on Ozobot, and then community are the ones that you guys submit. And I'm actually going to show you where you can submit lessons a little bit later. So actually, maybe I'll just show you right now. So to submit, you go back to our main page, and then you go all the way to the bottom, and it says submit your lessons. You just fill out this form, email us the lesson attachments, and then you can be featured on the lesson library. What's next? So I'm going to go to one of the lessons that I want to show you guys about, multiplication table practice. This is by Richard Bourne. You might have heard us talk about him before. He is a retired computer science professor who apparently likes to use his time in retirement to bring us lessons, so we can all benefit from that. When you go to the detail page, it'll give you a description of the lesson. It'll tell you the grade level, the duration, everything that you would need to know to incorporate into your lesson plan. And here's another new feature we've added, though. So attachment. If your lesson includes OzoBlockly attachments, you can actually just click on OzoBlockly preview, and it will load the program in another window. If you want to save the program, you can do it from here by clicking the Save button. But this other one, which has been a little bit confusing because if you click on it and then you try to go to it, it tells you that it doesn't work. That's for you to save it to your computer. So to access the attachments, which is the same thing that you saw in the OzoBlockly preview, you would just go to your downloads folder, and it would just be in your downloads. You would click on it from there, and then actually, you would go to, let me trash this. You would go to right here, you would open from your downloads, and you see that it's right there. You can open it from there. So that's just two ways to do it. The easier one's probably just going to OzoBlockly preview. So let me tell you guys about some lessons that we're excited about. A couple made by us and a couple made by Richard Bourne. The first one is the multiplication table practice that I was just showing you. This is a good way to get kids to be really excited about learning. So you actually just you don't program it. You download the program that I just showed you, and you use Bit to go around to different problems. It gives them a couple seconds to solve, and then it'll flash the correct number. So it's a really fun way to practice. The next one is a construction set that goes along with our accessory kit. Some of you might have it. It is still available online in our accessories in our shop. But we're actually coming up with quite a few lessons to go along with these. This one in particular is a critical thinking logic focused lesson. Our 100 centimeter Ozo Dash was made by us, and it is for all grades, as you can see, K through 12. The way it's differentiated here is they're just a different set of challenges and stipulations that you can use based on the grade or level that your students are at. And it's just a really fun racing. We get a lot of feedback from students and teachers that their students love racing kind of games. So this is a good game for that. Let me see, and then Hour of Code is coming up October 1st, or actually, is it December?
Soon.
Yes,
in the next
December,
few months.
Sorry. When those are up, you will be able to see those in our lesson library. Let me go back to a tab with our lesson library. So featured, right now we have a couple of these featured. All of our featured ones are going to be Hour of Code lessons then, so look out for those. Let me see, is there anything else I wanted to show you? Yeah, so that's just, if you aren't familiar with it already, this is just our resource. We have all different durations and subjects that you can use our search filter for, which remember is just on our lesson library page. You can select your grade, your subject, your robot. Well, let's do one. And then you'll hit search and they'll all appear there. And so we're excited about that new search feature. Hopefully it'll be really helpful for you. I think that's all for the lesson library.
Okay, yeah. So if you guys want to go ahead and start putting in any questions that you have, and we'll go ahead and read those out loud. And let me put back on my camera so you guys can see me. All right, perfect. Let me pull out this tab. Okay. All right. So I have one question about purchasing the Ozobot. You can use purchase orders, or you can reach out directly to us. You just reach out to ozoedu@ozobot.com, and we can send you over all the information on getting the Ozobots and how to pay with the PO as well. So yeah, definitely. If you have any questions too after this webinar, ozoedu is a good email. It goes straight to me, so I'll go ahead and answer all your questions. Okay. Are most kids paired up for the lessons, or are they individual? It really depends on how you want to use the lesson, actually. You can, do some of them call for pairs? I think they do.
Yeah, some of them call for pairs, and inherently a lot of them are designed to have more than one, just because the classroom kids don't necessarily always cover the amount of kids you have in the classroom. So a lot of them are designed with that in mind. We have a paired programming lesson that kind of teaches them the etiquette of working together. Can't think of any off the top of my head that are specifically meant for that.
But yeah, they vary. So you can make the lesson be just an individual lesson, or you can do it in groups. So we just give you that lesson, and you kind of figure out how you want to incorporate it into your actual classroom with the students. Okay, let's see. Can you tick several boxes in the search module, like several grades? Yes, you can definitely click on whichever items you want, the categories. So you can do K through 5. Let me see. Do you have it up? Because I'm going to show your screen already. Whoops.
So I do have it up. So yeah, you can do several, and then
you can do multiple subjects. You can click on both Evo and Bit. So it's, yeah, you can definitely customize that to make it whatever you want.
Yeah, and then if you just wanted to reset your filters, you just hit reset all filters.
Okay. Does the computer have to have a touchscreen monitor? No, it does not have to be touchscreen. I'm working on my computer, my laptop right now, and that's on a touchscreen. You can use OzoBlockly on any device that connects to the internet. So you can pull it up on your phone, you can pull it up on your laptop, your desktop, your iPads, your just tablets in general. It's not really device specific because it's not an app. It's just web-based. But yeah, to answer your question, it doesn't have to be the touch screen. You'll just use your mouse to click on Load Ozobot.
Are there lessons that go with the Ozo Group app? There actually are some lessons that go with the Ozo Group app. I think they're very fun. They come with great music, which you probably already know if you've seen that. But let me turn my screen back on and show you. We're actually redoing a version of this also, so it's just a little more concise. And so that, I believe, is part of our current basic training, which is OzoBlockly. Let's go to Ozobot basic training. So the last two right now of the basic training lesson 4, those are just being converted to their own Ozo group lessons. But right now you can access them from basic training, the last 2, 4, and 5.
Okay. Can you explain the differences between activities, lessons, classroom applications, and workshops?
We're actually, that's not going to be when we read our website, that's not going to be a distinction that we make there. But right now, the basic distinction is activities are just shorter, lessons are more teacher-led and guided, and workshops just a little longer, I guess.
Yeah.
They're kind of subject-specific longer lessons.
The classroom applications, I think a large majority of those are for the older grade levels. And if you want to check that out and you're, I guess, sixth grade plus, there's a lot of those lessons in there as well. Do you have to use the website on the iPad, or is there an app? We don't have an OzoBlockly app at this time right now. It is in development, and I'm not sure when that's coming out. I don't have a date for you, but that will be an option so that you will be able to store the programs, because right now there's just not enough storage on there. So we are working on it, but for right now it is just a web-based, so you have to connect to the internet to be able to access that editor. Do you suggest starting with the basic training lessons, or can you just jump into one of the other lessons?
I think it depends on the age a lot of times. For high schoolers, it's pretty they have already kind of been introduced to these topics, so you can kind of just show them the logistics of drawing the line and the codes and what you need to do, and then they can use that knowledge. But for younger kids, it's helpful for them to know so they don't get frustrated how to draw the codes and how to draw the lines. We give them some ideas for possibilities. So I always recommend starting with the basic training, especially for younger kids. We are going to make a shorter version for older kids, just since they are a little more quick at learning it, so it usually won't take up that much time. But just to reduce frustration is the reason that I would mostly recommend going through basic training.
Okay, we are a small mountain school, K through 5. How many would you recommend purchasing? I might just start off with one of the classroom kits. As you can, when you went back to the ozobot.com, and then there was that little section on the classroom kit, you can click on that and find some more information on the kit in general. But that includes the 18 robots, all the materials that you need to get started, so 18 sets of markers, the clear DIY skins, the charging station so you can charge everything at one time. And then since you're K to 5, you can take that kit and kind of use it between classrooms, just kind of hand it off. So that's a really good place to start, I think. And then depending on how many kids you have in the class, you can pair them up. If you need more than 18, then you can always purchase additional single robots. So that's a good place to start. If you want more information on that, then just go ahead and reach out to ozoedu@ozobot.com, and then just let me know that you're interested in getting the classroom kit or any of the Ozobots, and kind of help walk you through what options that you have. And then of course there's always education discounts, so when you reach out directly to us, we give you all that information as well.
2 questions about Chromebooks. You've received feedback that it works well on Chromebooks, right?
Yeah. The majority of schools using Ozobot are using them on Chromebooks. That's the most popular tablet that's being used. It works on iPads too. The only thing I would point out is if you're using the Chromebooks, you just want to make sure that they have a higher screen resolution. It's kind of the lower end model Chromebooks, and I'm talking about like really older models or devices, don't have a great screen resolution, and that, as you can see, like the flashing on the screen can kind of mess with the program being loaded to the robot. So we do recommend more of the newer models with higher resolution, but they should work on most Chromebooks in general. Are there any videos that show an Ozobot lesson in action? Do we have one of those up there yet?
Currently, they're more just troubleshooting, preparation kind of videos. I don't have a timeline for you, but that is a direction that we'd like to go, just video support for teachers, students to watch. It's sometimes a little easier than explaining, we get it. So we are talking about that, trying to see how that can work with our lesson library.
What do you consider the ideal age for Ozobot Bit? So honestly, with Bit, kindergarten all the way to, I'd say, 5th grade, those are the grade levels that we're pushing Bit right now. It's really nice because, as I said with the OzoBlockly editor, Kindergartners can use it because level 1 is pictures. They don't have to read. A lot of our lessons will already have a printed maze or a track, and then little blank, I guess, boxes or areas for you to actually place the color codes. So if the students can't really just draw a straight line and include the little color codes in there, then they can go and just have like a little template already ready for them, and they just have to color in the correct color sequence. So that makes it easy for them. And then all the way up to 5th grade, when they're doing level 4 advanced Blockly coding, I know right now students in like the 3rd, 4th grade are really being pushed to start programming. So by the time they get to 5th grade, they'll be doing all these advanced categories. So that's why I would say K to 5 is really the sweet spot for BIT right now. Okay. If you're having any issues, technical issues, some teachers are saying right now they're just having some minor blips with their Ozobots. We can't troubleshoot them right now over the webinar with you, but you can always reach out to contact@ozobot.com, and our customer support team is really great. They'll help you, they'll walk you through what's going on with the Ozobot and give you some more tips on how you can either tune them up or do some additional calibration just to help the Ozobot out.
One thing that people, I think with bits, something that you need to do sometimes is clean the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a little thing I can talk about right now. You just put it on some white paper, and you actually just move the wheels back and forth, just to make sure that that's not the issue you're experiencing has to do with movement, just to make sure that that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Some kids, they say they feel dazzled by the flashing when downloading their programs. I haven't heard anybody mention this before, but there is a way. I mean, you can just make your screen a little bit smaller, and then it will actually shrink the little activation space so it won't be as large, and then the whole bottom of the Ozobot will cover that flashing section so you can't really see it. So just, yeah, minimize that screen a little bit, and you just want to make sure it's not too small so that all of these sensors that are on the bottom of the Ozobot are on that flash. There, you can kind of see it. So you want all those sensors to be on that circle, but there is a way so that you can just make it the exact same size as the bottom of the Ozobot, and then the kids won't have to look at it as much. Okay. See. There's a question about Spanish. When we'll be getting lessons in Spanish. Not sure on the timeline for that, but I know that we are looking into a couple different languages right now.
Do students like to do the coding online and create the games before working with Ozobot? I have received feedback that this is a good way to get them into it, and what's really important is that it gives them ideas for what they'd like to do, how they'd like to change the game and what they've been working on. It really inspires them. So that is why we have gone the direction of the games beforehand, to just give them their learning while playing the game. I just think the best possible scenario for kids, for sure.
And they can start off with that game section that I showed in OzoBlockly. They don't even need to have an Ozobot for that. And the cute part is sometimes those kids will go home and start playing those games and they don't have an Ozobot at the house, so they kind of start there, get familiar with it, and then they can come back with their program all ready to go with the Ozobot in the classroom. So that's definitely an option. Okay. Should they be solid when they are fully charged? I took them out of the package and charged them overnight, and they were flashing green when I came back. Some of them won't get to that solid green light. If they're flashing green and they've been charging overnight, then they're fine. They're fully charged. It only takes about 20 to 25 minutes to recharge these little guys, and I actually wouldn't recommend leaving them on all night. It would be the same as just plugging in your phone and having it plugged in constantly. It's a tiny lithium-ion battery, so it doesn't need to just be connected 24/7. So we just recommend putting it on the charger for that 20 minutes. Once it gets to pretty much green light, then you should be good to go and you can disconnect them. Okay. There's a question about the discount that was on the certificate in the education box, and that would not be off the discounted price, it would be off the regular price. The educator discount that we offer is separate from any other discount, so you would have to pick either or, whichever one you want. And then that doesn't, I might not even include the classroom kits. I think it's just for the individual Ozobots. Okay, let's see.
Will the lessons that you showed be available? Yeah, if you didn't catch the link, don't worry about it. We'll send you an email with everything that we talked about that requires navigation.
So. Yeah. So right after this, there's an automatic email that's sent out within the next couple of days, and we'll have all the links on there. And let's see. We'll also be recording this webinar and posting it on the section that I showed you on our website, so you can always go back and watch that. Another thing to point out is we have some EVO webinars coming out as well, so if you have EVO or if you're interested in the EVO and kind of want to figure out more about that model, then definitely check out those webinars as well. I think we've pretty much answered everyone's questions unless anyone has a last minute one, but if we skipped over your question, we kind of have a really small box and it's hard to see, go ahead and just email us back. The email that we automatically send out, you can just hit reply and it goes straight to me, and we can answer anything, any extra questions that you have. If something comes up later and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to ask that, then definitely just send us an email. And then look for this recording of the webinar. It should be up within at least a week or so. And then if you have any friends that weren't able to make it, then you can share the link with them as well. But thanks for joining us for this webinar, and we hope to see you at the next one, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.